Linda Ronstadt was a top country singer, famous everywhere for selling millions of records and winning Grammys. Then, all of a sudden, she lost something she loved most, changing her life in ways she never expected. What do you think it was? Join us as we discover how her music touched millions and how she handled this heartbreaking turn in her life. Let's get right in. Linda Maria Ronstadt was born on the 15th of July, 1946, in Tucson, Arizona. She grew up on a big, beautiful ranch that stretched across 10 acres of land. Linda was the third of 4 children in her family. She had 2 brothers, Peter and Michael, and a sister, Gretchen. Life on the ranch was filled with adventure, music, and family traditions. Her father, Gilbert Ronstadt, came from a long line of ranchers and businessmen. The Ronstadts were well known in Arizona. They had a deep connection to the land and contributed to the state's history. In many ways, they built wagons, ran stores and pharmacies, and of course, shared their love of music. Gilbert himself was a machinery merchant, running a company called F. Ronstadt Company. He was proud of his Mexican roots, which were mixed with German ancestry, and he passed down his love for music to his children. Linda's mother, Ruth Mary Copeman Ronstadt, was a homemaker. She took care of the family and made sure their home was filled with warmth and love. The Ronstadts were a Roman Catholic family, and faith was an important part of their lives. In 1953, their family was even featured in Family Circle magazine, showing a glimpse of their close-knit, happy life. Music was everywhere in the Ronstadt household. Gilbert often sang traditional Mexican songs and played instruments, filling their home with melodies. Linda and her siblings would gather around to listen and sometimes join in. These moments planted the seeds of Linda's deep love for music. Her older brother, Peter, would grow up to become Tucson's chief of police, but Linda had a different path ahead of her, a path that would take her far beyond the ranch. The Ronstadt family's rich history is now preserved at the University of Arizona, where their contributions to Arizona's culture and commerce are remembered. But perhaps the greatest legacy the family left behind is the music that Linda would one day share with the world. Her story began on that quiet Arizona ranch, surrounded by family, faith, and song, a beginning as rich and beautiful as the voice that would one day make her a legend. Linda Ronstadt's family history is as rich and diverse as her music. Her story stretches across countries, cultures, and generations, blending adventure, invention, and hard work. It all began in the 1840s, when Linda's great-grandfather, Friedrich August Ronstadt, left his home in Hanover, Germany, and set off on a long journey. He traveled to Sonora, Mexico, and later moved to the American Southwest, which was still part of Mexico at the time. Once settled, he embraced his new life and even changed his name to the more Spanish-sounding Federico Augusto Ronstadt. Federico fell in love with a Mexican woman named Margarita Redondo y Vasquez. They built a life together in Tucson, Arizona, where they raised their family. Federico's adventurous spirit and hard work paved the way for the Ronstadt name to become a part of Arizona's history. Linda's grandfather, Federico Jose Maria Ronstadt, carried on the family's pioneering legacy. He was a skilled wagon maker who understood the importance of helping people get around. In the early 1990s, Tucson was growing, and transportation was needed. Federico helped improve the city's mobility by building 6 mule-drawn streetcars. These streetcars were a major step forward for the community. Federico's contributions were so important that many years later, Tucson honored him by naming its central transit terminal after him. The Ronstadt name became forever tied to the city's growth and development. But Linda's fascinating family history doesn't stop there. On her mother's side, the stories are just as remarkable. Linda's mother, Ruth Mary Copeman, came from Flint, Michigan, and had German, English, and Dutch roots. Ruth Mary's father, Linda's grandfather, was Lloyd Groff Copeman, a brilliant inventor with nearly 700 patents to his name. Lloyd Copeman had a mind full of ideas and created inventions that changed everyday life. He developed an early version of the electric toaster, which made mornings easier for families everywhere. He also invented devices for refrigerators and even created the grease gun, a tool still used in machinery today. But one of his most famous inventions was a simple yet clever idea: the flexible rubber ice cube tray. It made popping ice cubes out of the tray much easier and earned him millions of dollars in royalties. Lloyd also helped pave the way for modern kitchens by working on the first electric stove and an early version of the microwave oven. His creations made life more convenient and brought innovation into homes around the world. With a family like this, full of adventurers, inventors, and hardworking pioneers, it's no wonder Linda grew up to be such a trailblazer herself. From her great-grandfather crossing oceans and deserts to her grandfather building Tucson's transportation system, and her other grandfather sparking inventions that changed the way people lived, Linda inherited a spirit of curiosity, resilience, and creativity. Her voice may have made her famous, but her roots run deep, connecting her to a history filled with courage, ingenuity, and a love for forging new paths. But what influenced her music? What was her early career? Growing up in Tucson, Arizona, music was everywhere in her home. It wasn't just something to listen to, it was a part of life. In the Ronstadt house, every family member had a song to share. Her father would play the piano, filling the living room with beautiful melodies. Her brother would strum his guitar or sing in his boys' choir. Her mother and sister practiced Broadway songs and the playful tunes of Gilbert and Sullivan. The radio was always on, introducing Linda to different sounds from around the world. And when the family came together, they sang traditional Mexican songs, passing down stories and emotions through music. By the time Linda was 10 years old, she had already heard a wide variety of music: rock and roll, rhythm and blues, gospel, opera, country, choral, and mariachi. All these sounds blended into her heart, becoming a part of who she was. She once said that if she didn't hear a song in that Tucson living room, she couldn't sing it today. Every style she explored in her career came from those early family moments. Linda's parents played a big role in shaping her taste. Her mother introduced her to the clever and humorous songs of Gilbert and Sullivan, sparking her love for storytelling and music. Her father shared his passion for traditional pop and the Great American Songbook, classic songs from composers like Cole Porter and George Gershwin that Linda would later help bring back to a new generation of listeners. As Linda grew older, she found even more inspiration from other artists. She admired the powerful voices of Mexican singer Lola Beltran and French singer Edith Piaf. Their passionate, emotional singing had rhythms that reminded her of Greek music, intense and full of energy, often in complex time signatures like 6/8. She also loved the raw, heartfelt sound of country legend Hank Williams, whose songs taught her about storytelling and vulnerability. But Linda's musical influences didn't stop there. She believed that every female singer owed something to the jazz greats Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday. Their voices were smooth, soulful, and deeply expressive, showing Linda the art of using subtlety and emotion in every note. One singer stood above the rest in Linda's eyes: Maria Callas, the legendary opera soprano. Linda once said that she learned more about singing rock and roll. When Linda was just 14 years old, she formed a folk group with her brother Peter and sister Gretchen. They called themselves the Union City Ramblers, or sometimes the Three Ronstadts. They performed in small places, like coffee houses and fraternity parties. The trio played the music they grew up with: folk, country, bluegrass, and Mexican songs. But Linda wanted to do something new. She dreamed of mixing folk music with rock and roll. After spending a short time at the University of Arizona, 18-year-old Linda made a big decision. She packed her bags and moved to Los Angeles to chase her dream. There, she reconnected with an old friend from Tucson, Bobby Kimmel. Bobby was writing folk rock songs with guitarist Kenny Edwards. The three decided to form a band, the Stone Ponies. It didn't take long for them to get noticed. Soon, they signed a record deal with Capitol Records. Over the next year and a half, they released 3 albums: The Stone Ponies, Evergreen, Volume 2, and Linda Ronstadt, Stone, Ponies and Friends, Volume 3. Their biggest hit was Different Drum, a song written by Michael Nesmith before he joined the Monkees. The song became a huge success, reaching number 13 on the Billboard charts. Even today, it remains one of Linda's most loved songs. As Linda's voice shone brighter, it became clear she was destined for a solo career. She was still under contract with Capitol Records. She released her first solo album, Hand Sewn, Homegrown. Many believe this was the first alternative country album by a female artist. Around this time, she also lent her voice to other projects. She sang in a unique super session album called Music from Free Creek and even recorded a quirky commercial for Remington Electric Razors with musician Frank Zappa. This was just the beginning for Linda. She had taken her first steps into the music world, and soon, her voice would make her a legend. In 1970, Linda released her second solo album, Silk Purse. She recorded the whole album in Nashville with producer Elliot Mazer, who was recommended to her by Janis Joplin. The album cover was memorable. Linda was pictured standing in a muddy pig pen, while the back cover showed her on stage, wearing a bright red outfit. Linda wasn't very happy with the album, but it gave her first big solo hit, Long, Long Time. The song became popular across different music charts and even earned her first Grammy nomination. As Linda's solo career grew, she started working with different bands to back her up. One of the first was Swamp Water, a group that mixed Cajun and swamp rock music. They performed with her on TV shows like The Johnny Cash Show and The Mike Douglas Show, and even at the Big Sur Folk Festival. Another group of musicians that played with Linda would go on to become rock legends. Don Henley, Glenn Frey, Bernie Leadon, and Randy Meisner backed her for a short time. Soon after, they formed the Eagles. Linda also began working closely with producer John Boylan, who helped shape her sound. She described their work together as a partnership, saying she always had a hand in the production, but needed someone like Boylan to help make her ideas a reality. By 1975, Linda was performing with major artists like Jackson Browne, the Eagles, and Toots and the Maytals. Her live shows were powerful, and her voice captivated audiences. During these concerts, she sang lead vocals on several songs, like Desperado, and played tambourine and acoustic guitar on others. Touring wasn't always easy for Linda. Life on the road was lonely and exhausting. In interviews, she spoke about how difficult it was to be a woman in the male-dominated rock scene. Female singers were often treated as less important than men, and she had to fight for respect. She admired singers like Maria Muldaur, who managed to stay feminine while competing with the boys. Linda felt pressure to prove herself at every level, dealing with egos, bad romances, and managers who tried to control her career. Soon, Linda started working on her fourth album, Don't Cry Now. John Boylan produced most of the tracks, but Linda wanted someone who would treat her as an equal. James Taylor's sister, Kate Taylor, recommended Peter Asher, a talented producer known for working with James. Linda brought Asher on to produce two songs, Sail Away and I Believe in You. This collaboration was the start of a long and successful partnership. Asher understood Linda's vision and helped her create music that connected deeply with listeners. The album also included a new version of Silver Threads and Golden Needles, a song Linda had recorded earlier on her debut album. This time, the song became a hit, reaching the country top 20. Linda was beginning to find her voice and carve out her place in music history. How did she rise to stardom? In the 1970s, Linda Ronstadt emerged as not only a remarkable singer, but a symbol of female power in the rock music scene. Her image was almost as iconic as her voice, with album covers, concert posters, and magazine features helping to solidify her presence in the music world. By the decade's end, she had become the most successful female rock star, known for her incredible vocal range and bold approach to music, which spanned across multiple genres. However, her rise to superstardom was a gradual process, taking years of hard work and dedication to finally break into mainstream success. The pivotal moment in her career came in 1975 with the release of Heart Like a Wheel. The album, blending rock and country, became a commercial success, reaching #1 on the Billboard 200 and selling over 2 million copies. Two hit singles from the album, You're No Good and When Will I Be Loved, helped her gain widespread recognition. You're No Good topped the charts, while When Will I Be Loved marked her first #1 country hit. Her emotional depth and unique interpretations of other artists' songs added a personal touch that resonated with fans across genres. Ronstadt's success continued with her album Prisoner in Disguise, which went platinum and made her the first female artist to achieve 3 consecutive platinum records. With hits like Heatwave and Love is a Rose, the album cemented her reputation as a versatile artist who could blend various musical styles. She was not content to be confined to one genre and continually pushed boundaries by incorporating rock, country, R&B, and even mariachi into her work. Her fearless approach to music and her authenticity made her a standout figure in the male-dominated rock industry. As her fame grew, Ronstadt faced challenges with her public image. She struggled with the media's attempts to portray her as a sex symbol, especially after appearing on the cover of Time magazine, which she felt misrepresented her true self. Despite this, her career continued to flourish, with albums like Simple Dreams achieving massive commercial success. The album produced several hit singles, including Blue Bayou, which became a signature song, and It's So Easy, which made history by placing 2 of her songs in the US Billboard Top 10 simultaneously. Her success extended beyond the US, as she became one of the most successful international female touring artists of the time. By the late 1970s, Ronstadt had firmly established herself as a trailblazer for women in rock music. She had shattered expectations and proved that women could be as powerful and successful as their male counterparts in the industry. Her ability to cross musical boundaries and stay true to her roots made her a pioneering force in music. Ronstadt's legacy, built on her authenticity and resilience, continues to inspire future generations of female artists. Despite the challenges she faced with her image, her talent, determination, and groundbreaking success solidified her place in music history. With the amount of success Linda attracted, what are the tragic details about her life? In the early 2010s, Linda Ronstadt, the celebrated and versatile singer whose voice had resonated across genres from country to rock to opera, was blindsided by a devastating revelation. After struggling with the inexplicable symptoms that made it harder to sing, perform, and even manage basic daily activities, she sought medical advice. The diagnosis came as a shock: Parkinson's disease, a progressive neurological condition that affects movement and coordination. For a woman whose career had been built on her powerful, emotive voice, this news was not just a medical blow, it was an emotional devastation. As the years passed, Linda continued to grapple with the physical challenges of Parkinson's disease. Despite the struggles, she remained determined to stay connected to her music and her fans, making public appearances, sharing her journey with the world, and writing her memoir, Simple Dreams, where she recounted her musical evolution and the challenges she faced in both her personal and professional life. Through her memoir, she inspired countless fans by showing them the strength it took to endure such profound changes. However, by late 2019, a reevaluation of her condition revealed an even more severe and rare diagnosis: progressive supranuclear palsy, a neurodegenerative disorder that causes problems with balance, eye movements, and severe difficulties with motor control. Unlike Parkinson's, PSP does not respond to the usual treatments, and it gradually took away Ronstadt's ability to perform the one thing that had defined her career: singing. The loss was immeasurable, not just to Ronstadt herself, but to the world of music. Her voice had been one of the most distinctive and revered in the industry, with her interpretations of everything from country classics to operatic arias drawing admiration across generations. To no longer be able to sing was a personal tragedy of monumental proportions, one that she had to come to terms with over time. Yet, despite the anguish, Linda refused to retreat entirely from the world. The public got glimpses of her perseverance and resilience as she made appearances, often reflecting on her journey and the precious memories of her musical past. Through her memoir, she painted a picture of a woman who had lived many lives within her career, who had touched hearts with her work, and who continued to engage with the world in new ways, despite her body's limitations. While the disease stole her singing voice, Linda found new outlets for her creativity and passion. One of the most significant ways she channeled her energy was through an extensive collaboration with Los Chinzontles, a Mexican cultural arts academy. Her partnership with the Academy was a profound way to stay connected to music, culture, and the traditions that had always been close to her heart. Ronstadt had long had a deep appreciation for Mexican music, and through this collaboration, she found a new purpose in fostering and supporting the next generation of musicians, helping preserve and promote the cultural heritage that had always inspired her. Living with PSP, Linda Ronstadt continues to face daily challenges, navigating the difficulties of movement and balance, and confronting the emotional impact of her condition. Yet, in the face of immense personal loss, she has shown the world that resilience is not just about enduring, it's about finding new ways to live fully, even in the shadow of adversity. Is her personal life as glamorous as her career? Let's find out. Linda Ronstadt's personal life, especially her relationships, was often in the spotlight, with one of the most notable being her romance with Jerry Brown, the governor of California, in the late 1970s. The relationship was a blend of politics and entertainment, captivating the public as they made a high-profile appearance on the cover of Newsweek. Despite the public interest, Ronstadt and Brown kept their private life mostly out of the media. After their relationship ended, Ronstadt continued to attract attention with her brief relationships, including with comedian Jim Carrey and Star Wars creator George Lucas. However, Ronstadt never married and often spoke about the challenge of finding a partner who could match her emotional and creative needs. After moving away from Los Angeles in the late 1980s, Ronstadt found solace in San Francisco before settling in her hometown of Tucson, Arizona, where she raised 2 adopted children. Despite her fame, she chose a quieter, more private life, away from the pressures of celebrity culture. In 2013, she shared her personal and professional journey through her autobiography, Simple Dreams. Linda Ronstadt's activism extended beyond the music world. She was outspoken on political issues, including her criticism of the Iraq War and her support for gay rights, immigration reform, and environmental sustainability. In 2004, her praise for filmmaker Michael Moore and his documentary Fahrenheit 9/11 during a concert led to a media storm and public debate about the role of politics in entertainment. Ronstadt also advocated for music, education, and arts funding, and she was passionate about standing up for social justice causes. Her bold stance on these issues, combined with her long-lasting contributions to music, solidified her legacy not only as a musical icon, but also as a powerful voice for change. But was she ever recognized? Linda Ronstadt's career is filled with awards that show just how talented and versatile she is. She has won 11 Grammy Awards out of 27 nominations, covering many different musical styles. Early in her career, she won Best Country Vocal Performance, Female for I Can't Help It, If I'm Still in Love with You, and Best Contemporary Vocal Performance, Female for Hasten Down the Wind. These awards highlighted her success in both country and contemporary music. Ronstadt also honored her Mexican roots with the album Canciones de mi Padre, earning a Grammy for Best Mexican American Performance. She shined in duets. Her song Don't Know Much with Aaron Neville won Best Pop Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. Another memorable collaboration was with Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris, which earned them a Grammy for Best Country Collaboration with Vocals in 2000. Her talent wasn't limited to music alone. Ronstadt also made her mark on television and theater. She won a Primetime Emmy Award for her performance in Canciones de mi Padre on Great Performances. She even earned a Tony Award nomination for her role in The Pirates of Penzance. Her contributions to music and culture have been celebrated with major honors. She received the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Latin Grammy Awards and the prestigious Kennedy Center Honor. Additionally, she was inducted into the Arizona Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. These awards highlight not just her talent, but also her lasting influence across different generations and musical styles. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.